So, good afternoon from a Halifax that is being tormented at the moment by Storm Alley. Thankfully, at the moment, this weekend racing isn't affected, and Ayr looks like it's going to go ahead, because last year, Matt, it didn't survive, did it?
No, I think it's going to be wet, even wetter than it is already. It looks pretty soft already, doesn't it? Just the first couple of races we've seen this afternoon, I think there's more rain forecast, like you say. So come Sunday, it could be, come Saturday even, it could be bad.
Yeah, you checked the forecast and it said 90% chance of rain all afternoon. So
not good.
There's going to be bucket loads, I think, over the next couple of days.
Waterproofs if you go.
But I suppose that could just change the complexion of the race we're about to look at, the Ayr Gold Cup, because it's going to be heavy and it's a massive field as well. Where do you start with a race like this? Do you look at pace? Do you look at draw? Where would you begin?
Yeah, I mean, I think pace and draw are key in these sprint handicaps. Obviously, there's a lot made of the Ayr Gold Cup. There's too much made of the Ayr Gold Cup, but really, isn't there, that stuff that goes on earlier on in the day? I mean, yeah, the pace is key. I think there's lots of pace. I think the most of it is sort of mid to low. Looking at it for this race, not ruling out those drawn high, but I would be looking mid to low, far side. I think they'd be the ones of most interest, particularly in this sort of ground as well. If you're going to get towed along, you want to be taken into the race for as long as you can, really. And I think that's probably going to be key. Yeah.
Are there some of these as well that you wouldn't necessarily have, thought about because they prefer softer ground, or are you willing to sort of think that it's a level playing field and those that are coming here in form might just be able to handle it anyway?
Well, to be honest, for the Ayr Gold Cup, you get horses that turn up in it year on year, they're targeted at it, and the majority of the ones that are prominent in the betting do have form on softer ground. Connections and predict that it's going to be softer ground, so I think you're on a pretty level playing field, to be honest, as far as that goes.
Okay, well, I've got the betting in front of me, and there's one at the moment that's clear of the field. Son of Rest, about 9-2, 5-1.
Yeah, he's been really well backed, hasn't he? Bounced back to form at the Curragh last weekend. He does go well on testing ground, and obviously after Connection said that they were going to run him, that's where the money came from. He does look well in back in a handicap. The doubt with him really is going to be whether he can repeat that sort of form. His overall profile is a little bit in and out. And taking that into account, given the fact that he's already been punted, 11-2 is short enough for me in a race like this, to be honest.
What is catching your eye then? Because it's 9-1 the field, apart from Son of Rest, and Growl is the only one in single figures.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's some obvious ones to consider, like George Bowen, who probably would have gone very close to winning the Stewards Cup, but for meeting some trouble. Munsadab's been well backed again, a horse that goes well in these sort of races. You've got Gunmetal. Great St Walford winner, did really well to win that. He was clear of the field on his side. I think second, third and fourth were all on the far side. The one for me that I do quite fancy is Golden Apollo. We mentioned the draw. He is drawn low on the far side where the majority of that pace is. He ran in the Portland at the St Ledger meeting, and the Portland, it's about 5.6 furlongs, which is just a bit too sharp for him. He's kind of 6-7 furlong horse. He does need a strong pace. He's often held up. He's a strong traveller, got plenty of form on softer ground, including the Portland, and prior to that he'd been shaping up pretty nicely, to be honest, sort of bubbling under, but leaving the impression that on his day when things drop right, he's well treated. And 14-1, 16-1, I think that's a pretty good price for a horse that looks like he's going to have everything in his favour, to be honest. So really competitive. It's a typical Ayr Gold Cup. But if I was going to stick my colours to one, it would be Golden Apollo, I think.
Come Saturday, it'll be just 7 days since his last run. Does that worry you at all, or because it's a sprint, it doesn't mean as much as it would for perhaps if the St Ledger runner was turned out so quickly?
Yeah, no, I mean, these sprint handicappers, they're campaigned pretty relentlessly, aren't they, through the season. To be honest, Golden Apollo, by comparison to some of them, has had a fairly light campaign. He's had sort of 6, 7, 8 runs, but some of them are coming here after a much busier campaign. I suspect this has probably been on the agenda, this back-end campaign, obviously the Portland, and then coming here, probably in the back of Connection's mind. And yeah, for me, a horse where the environment looks perfect for him to kind of run up to his best, and if he does that, I think his mark is definitely workable.
Okay, 16-1 then at the moment, Golden Apollo. And we'll move on to just one other race on the card at Ayr, the one after the 4:25, which is a 1.2 mile handicap. 9 runners due to go to post, and we don't have any prices for this one at the moment.
No, and I mean, it's safe to say this isn't going to be one of the highlights on Saturday.
Pessimistic.
It's one of the. It's an average handicap, but I do think there's a good bet in it, to be honest.
Okay.
And I think it's Eric the Red. He is top rated on the Timeform card. He came back from a long absence in August, and then he ran at York last time. Finished sort of 6th or 7th, and he wasn't seen to anything like best effect. He was caught a long way back in a race where it paid to be handy. And all of his winning form is on ground softer than good. Again, you suspect he's probably had a problem or two to have the absence, but equally it's not going to harm him because you're waiting for softer ground in the autumn. This isn't a competitive race for the grade. He often he's campaigned in sort of big field, top end handicaps. This has cut up a bit, to be honest, and from this sort of mark, not a strong race. He's just the sort of horse that could fly under in the market a little bit, particularly given that we've got the likes of Collide, who likely raced Hugo Palmer horse, who might sort of be a little bit fancy in the betting, and Mafahim as well for Owen Burrows, a trainer who's sort of coming back into some form. So, I think Eric the Red, obviously we're guessing a little bit, but I think his price might be a little bit bigger than it deserves to be on form. He'll relish the conditions, and I think he just ticks those boxes for me, to be honest.
I was going to quickly ask you about Collide, because I'm sure plenty will be supporting him on Saturday, because he'll be getting plenty of weight off your selection, Eric the Red. He's 2 from 3, and he's justified favouritism twice as well.
Yeah, he has. He's well graded by Frankel. He's won 2 week races at Hamilton and Carlisle, albeit impressively. Going into a handicap, he does need to improve from his mark. He's got the Timeform P on. We think he's going to improve. He does definitely shape like he's got more in the locker, but he's potentially not learnt a great deal in beating up 2 pretty weak northern fields. Again, like I said before, this isn't a particularly strong race, but it is going to be a sterner test of his credentials. So, there's the potential for him to be overbet a little bit, taking into account that his form isn't the strongest.
I've got the Timeform race card in front of me, and I read that as Cartmel for a second because it's the abbreviation. It'd be some feat if he was coming here after winning at Cartmel.
I think he'd be the first Frankel to run at Cartmel, wouldn't he? I think?
Well, he's here to break records.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. There you go. Yeah.
He had solo saxophone, then, didn't he, at the Cheltenham? Was it the Fred Winter he ran?
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the Brian Ellison one, wasn't it? Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he won from. I remember he won at Catterick. From miles out.
He did. He did.
Struggled, and then all of a sudden, from the clouds. So we'll go over to Newbury now. 4 races we're going to look at here. Starting with a handicap, and there's a name that immediately jumps out here in Pivione or Piv1, however you pronounce it, because you tipped him up and successfully tipped him up as well last month when you were here. Yeah,
it was at York on Ebor Day, wasn't it? Yeah, he won well that day, and it's form that's enough. He was top rated that day, and it's form enough to see him top rated again. It was a competitive handicap that he won, but he just dominated it. He absolutely bombed through the race, went to the front sort of over 2 furlongs out, and settled it really, really quickly. He's here under a £5 penalty for that win. It's a race that's competitive, but it doesn't necessarily look any stronger than that race, to be honest. The one slight concern that I would have is that they are forecast a bit of rain sort of Saturday lunchtime at Newbury. If that did come, and if it came quite a lot, that would be an issue because he's unproven on ground sort of softer than good. They've largely kept him to sort of quicker ground. To be honest, I'd have my doubts that they'd run him if the rain really did come. But all things being equal, he's got a very good chance of following up that York win, yeah.
He's 9-1 at the moment. Imagine he won't be that price later on in the week. At the time of speaking, at least, would you be with him here, or would you
definitely? No, I would. I think that £5 penalty, it is what it is. I think it gives him a very fair chance of following up. He's, like I say, his form from York was strong. He was impressive. It is a competitive race. You've got Style Hunter for John Gosden, who is on an upward curve. He is progressive. Didn't win a strong race last time, but he did do it sort of pretty well. Could still have more to come. There's a couple of interesting ones as well in Adamant, who's got the Timeform P on. Put it all together at Chelmsford last time in impressive fashion. This is a little bit tougher, but again, could be improving. And Buzz, I think, is one that actually might be a little bit overpriced. His 2 wins at Kempton are really strong form. He beat Dash Spice, who went on that really impressive run just after. He didn't stay a mile and 3/4 last time. You look at his form and you think he might be an all-weather horse, but he's got some good runs on turf, and I do think he might be a little bit overpriced on the day. So I'll be looking at him particularly from an each way perspective. But I think Devoyne's probably the one to beat again.
Okay, so we'll go on to the second race now, and bit closer, the smaller field here, and a 6-4 favourite as well in Mirage Dancer, who has taken a while but seems to be coming together now. Won at Goodwood last time. Yeah,
I was running out of patience with him, to be honest, before Goodwood, and I think I actually criticised him a little bit that day. But he sort of proved me wrong. He did it well. I think, to be honest, he's probably relished a slightly busier campaign. They kept him really quiet last year, but he sort of stood more racing this year. Really seems to be getting his act together. He does set the standard. It's not a deep race, to be honest. You've got Desert Encounter, who has been rated higher in the past, back on track at Windsor last time, having kind of looked like he was going the wrong way. He did win this race last year as well, actually. And theoretically, Desert Skyline as well, but the trip is going to be on the short side, and he's got a little bit to prove after kind of disappointing on his last 3 starts. So, Mirage Dancer is, he's going to be short in the betting, but he's the one to beat, really.
What about Young Rascal? Wasn't too long ago since he was a bit of a shrewd Derby fancy, was it?
No, absolutely. He didn't handle the track at Epsom. He's looked really good prior to that, hasn't he? Obviously, not seen him since, so it's a bit of an absence, and you suspect that something might have gone awry slightly. But if he's back on track to sort of pre-Epsom, then he'd definitely have a chance for all that. He does have a little bit to find with the likes of Mirage Dancer. Extra Elusive, I think, is a horse that is worth mentioning, who he's probably not going to be quite up to this level just yet, but he does look like a group horse in the making. He won a handicap at Ascot last time, really impressively. He's a hard bowler, and he kind of needs to settle down and grow up a little bit. I think he might be a better 4-year-old, but definitely interested to see how he gets on. But Mirage Dancer sets the standard on form. He'll be a short price favourite, but he should win, really.
6-4 at the moment, but could be shorter yet.
Could well be, absolutely. Probably deservedly so as well, to be honest with you.
Would that be the sort of race that you would just watch and leave alone?
Yeah, it will be, I think, It's an interesting race. I look forward to seeing how a couple of the next ones get on, but I wouldn't be in a rush to take on Mirage Dancer.
Okay, we'll move to the Mill Reef Stakes next, and looks an open races on the betting at the moment. And I had a sneaky peek at the Timeform ratings as well, and there's one here that's a couple of pounds clear in Cassar.
I think the point to make about this race is, the 2-year-olds this year, they are a good bunch, aren't they? Calix, 2 Down Hot, Tensor, Rinder and Island. That's Stout Horse, Sangaris. That one as well. They do look a really good bunch. This is a... this lot really kind of aren't the best of them, and it looks a pretty substandard renewal. It normally takes something around sort of 140 and 115 on the Timeform scale to win it. Kessar, who you mentioned, is the top rated. His master rating is 108, so he's kind of a little way below that sort of average standard. Like you say, he's deserved the top rated. He was the Sardinia Stakes winner at Kempton last time, did it pretty well. It's not form that would normally make him favourite for a Group 2, or close to favourite for a Group 2, but it's probably good enough to see him go close again.
Do you think that because of what you just said, there's potential that there could be a bit of a surprise here?
I think there is. I mean, you've got Shine So Bright as well. He's probably going to go favourite there or thereabouts. Solid runs in the Richmond and the Jim Crack. He might need 7 furlongs to improve. And again, he's not coming in here with a upwardly mobile profile. It's kind of sort of is what he is a little bit at the moment. True Mason similarly, 3rd in the morning last time. Again, you can't really see where there's going to be any obvious improvement coming from. The one that might improve is Maha Bamilia for John Boston, who was beaten in a nursery at Chelmsford last time. And you kind of think, we're sticking it in Group 2, it's got no chance whatsoever. But actually, given the fact that this isn't the strongest Group 2, his form isn't that far behind some of the others. Opens further improvement still. He did shape pretty well in defeat, actually, and I wouldn't be staggered to see that horse run well. But from a betting perspective, I think Kessar's probably just about the most solid option.
Okay, 4-1 Kessar and 20-1 if you fancy a punt on having.
Like I say, I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't usually recommend that sort of horse for this race, but it's just because it does look a bit of a substandard renewal, and it wouldn't be the biggest turn up for the book if it was right to do that.
One to go then. That's a really long-winded name, isn't it? The Dubai International Airport World Trophy Stakes. I assume it's just a World Trophy Stakes.
Yeah.
Sponsored, and well, this looks like it's going to be fast and frenetic, and there's so many horses in here that are coming in good heart. I mean, two to mention are El Astronaut and Take Cover, who have had really fine seasons so far.
Absolutely, yeah. And the two that you mentioned are two of the pace angles. El Astronaut, Take Cover, Fashion Queen, Mrs. Gallagher. There's absolutely bags of speed in here. El Astronaut's done remarkably well, hasn't he, so far? Yeah, he ran a cracker again at Doncaster last week. He's going to run well again, isn't he? And if he's going to win a Group 3, this is probably going to be the day that he does it. I think the market's going to be interesting with this. Obviously, we're looking sort of ahead of time here a bit. Yeah. It is open, and I think a lot of that is because of the unknown regarding Equilateral. Obviously, he's a 3-year-old. He's won minor events, and he was impressed at Leicester in a small field last time, but he's yet to translate that into pattern form. He's disappointed every time he's gone into the group company. The fact that he's not short in the bet, I think, kind of takes into a lot of that uncertainty about whether he's going to be able to do it. Theoretically, he should be a shorter price over it, and realistically, he should win because it's not a particularly strong Group 3. But there's just that doubt about whether he can do it. If he is sort of 4-1 mark, I don't think he might be a bit short on the day, but if he is that sort of price, then he probably would have taken a chance because it's still early days. But I think the market is just factoring in a lot of that uncertainty at the moment.
Yeah, I assume, is it 48-hour decks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but between now and then the rain continues to fall as well, there might be a few dropouts, so 5-1 could look very big.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, just mentioning the pace angle, the top rate on the Timeform card is Mr. Lupton. Again, wouldn't be the most obvious top rate for a Group 3 sprint, but he gets that figure from a listed York winner in a year. And the pace is going to be key for him. He's a horse that's often held up. If they go like Clappers, it's really going to suit him. I think he can scrap his Beverley on last time because he was drawn wide and he sort of raced wide and he was more prominent than he normally is, and that's just not really his style. So if they go good gallop, that's really going to bring him into play. And if Equilateral disappoints, then I would think Mr. Lupton's probably best placed to sort of take advantage.